We have all spent a lot of time at home in the last few months. What do you guys feel like you've learned about yourself during this time?
I've learned that I am a filthy, filthy woman. Not in a fun sexual way, in like a really unhygienic way. I'm going sometimes 5-6 days between showers.
Are you at least wiping where the sun don't shine?
Am I doing the sex work as well? Yes, I am. Yes,
yeah, okay, good. At least that.
But also, I've learned that I exist very comfortably in confinement. This suits me. This is my teens all over again. I've been training for this my whole life. This is good. I'm good. I like it for me.
I've learned to appreciate, I'm a homebody, but I've learned like I was prepared for this, like the Girl Scout in me. I had everything. I wasn't out desperately trying to buy stuff. The only thing I hoarded was hay for a rabbit. I have a 7-pound rabbit. The only thing I didn't have was a thermometer, but I used her rectal thermometer. The rabbit's rectal thermometer take my temperature, but I cleaned it and everything. But I just learned,
She gonna eat that rabbit anyway, so it don't matter.
I've learned a lot about resiliency and people's collective resilience and just how collectively to take care of one another, to not go outside and to wear a mask, not just for your own safety, but for the people that you come across.
I've learned that I think I might be got some issues in here because I've been doing stand-up comedy shows to the plants. Like, I am an addict for laughter.
I can relate to that. I've been with my family, and my grandmother and my mom and my sister were all together. So, that's a lot of emotions and a lot of commotion going on. But having like the family time again and kind of teaching myself to relax and breathe a little bit, because that's hard for me to do.
I get that totally. Yeah, I think for me, I've been able to learn that I'm a little more domestic than I ever thought I was. I mean, I always liked to cook, but I never had time. I basically host a cooking show with my family every night. Call them up and they'll go, what are we making today? And I'll walk them through the recipe and they'll do the same with me. So it's been a really, as hard as this time has been for so many people, I think those of us who are lucky have had a chance to reconnect with loved ones, and that's been really nice. And I think that I haven't learned, but it's been confirmed that I'm incredibly lucky and incredibly grateful for the friends and family that I have.
Jane, your show is one that sort of walks this tonal tightrope. I mean, you can go from some singing and dancing to bawling and back in 20-something minutes. Are you more comfortable or more at ease in one versus the other?
For me, I approach a comedic scene the same way as I approach a dramatic one. I guess it's just like an energy shift that like I couldn't really explain, but there's like a tempo to comedy, there's timing, but that's more, it's sort of like I just have to get into the mood. But I technically speaking, I approach the scenes the same way. For me, at least, the most fun part about acting and making television shows and movies is like the fantastical element. I think comedy in some ways like fits into that world. At least our show does, because our show is about people who break into song and dance. And our show came out during the pandemic, and it's full of joy and silly comedy, but it also has this theme of grief. And a lot of audience members have connected with me on the internet to say that during the pandemic, the show offered them great catharsis, like cries, tears from laughter, and just a great distraction and entertainment. And I feel so proud of that and humbled by that. And so, in the past, some of the things that I have done in my career that have like made the most money have been horror films. And sorry to be so dark, but like every horror film, a woman is raped. Like, it's a really gratifying thing to hear that our show offered anything to people during such a hard time.
In this sort of moment of reflection, do you think it'll change the sort of professional choices that you make from here?
I do think there's a period where we're going to have to consider safely working, and how, especially for performers, how you perform without PPE, all that sort of stuff. That's a huge concern for me as a performer and as a showrunner.
Are there different stories sort of in this moment that you want to tell?
My stories have always been centered around the experiences of Black women in comedy, so I'm already telling the things that I wanted to tell, and those stories will continue. So I don't think it'll change much. And I don't really think the world wants to see a bunch of like quarantine movies after this, but that's just my personal feeling.
Robin, what are the stories you felt like you previously couldn't tell, and how in this moment might that be changing?
I create shows and I act in them. And for me, that's just been the way it's been for the many, many years I've been in this business. I was never that girl. So for me, writing was the way that I got on shows, and then creating my own shows with the vision for what I wanted to do. A Black Lady sketch show is the 7th sketch show I've done, but the first that I've created and been in charge of. So in terms of those characters, it's like, I never had any restrictions on what I was gonna do, even when I was in late night television, and now that I'm back in my sketch home, I never had any restrictions on what I wanted to do because I was the person who got to say yes or no. But I have been incredibly lucky, and I've also worked really hard to be able to create stories that I want to see on television. And it's so cool to be able to take 4 Black women on this sketch show and do what has never been done in history, you know, have a Black woman director, all Black women writers, or all Black women cast, and be able to play over 100 characters in 6 episodes, have 55 celebrity guest stars in 6 episodes. Like, people just want to play.
Jameela, I want to ask, you came to The Good Place, your background wasn't necessarily as an actress per se. At what point in the run of the show did you feel sort of at home and comfortable sort of in that role?
The Good Place was my first ever audition for anything. I'd never ever acted. I mean, when I was 6, I played Oliver's mother, like on stage at school. So when I was asked by the casting director if I had any acting experience, I was like, I did theatre in England. And I was referencing my pre-9-year-old school plays. I guess it was probably sometime through season 2. Season 1 was really hard. I mean, I think generally as a woman, you have a tendency towards imposter syndrome. So when you are literally an imposter, someone who's never acted, surrounded by veterans, I felt so unworthy of being there and so stressed. So stressed that I used to comfort eat my way through the entire of season 1. So I was almost concentrating on how much gas I had rather than how nervous I was having to act face to face with Kristen. I would avoid eye contact with her for the first 7 episodes. I used to try and look at someone else while delivering all my lines to her because I just couldn't look her in the eye because I felt guilty for being there. But I think over the course of spending 16 hours a day with all of these great actors, just studying them day and night, by season 2, I'd started to find my confidence. I think I still have so much to learn.
Tiffany, you've sort of called yourself a joy ambassador. Obviously, we are in the middle of a pandemic, but if we weren't, and you had a show to do this weekend, how do you be funny in this moment? Can you be funny in this moment?
It is very difficult to be funny in this moment, but I'm gonna be honest with you. If I had a show this weekend, I would light that stage up. I'm an administrator of joy. I'm just here to administrate the joy. Now, ambassador, administrator. I'm delivering it. I'm presenting it, right? I want my comedy to be educational, yet entertaining, informative more. You know, like in the past, I've talked about things that I know, sex, and my trials and tribulations. Now, I want to talk about other things that I have learned while I've been sitting in this house. Like, I want to start talking more about history. You know, they don't teach Black history in school, and so I feel like it's very diluted and people are very confused. So I want to start doing things that represent Black history, and I would love to do a movie about FloJo. I want to remake Who Framed Roger Rabbit. I want to do something like that. That's part of why I've been talking to the plants, preparing myself, using my imagination.
Did the plants greenlight your project?
Oh yeah, it's greenlit. It's happening, honey. It's happening. If I had a show this weekend, though, I know I would kill it because I would just talk my truth. People are asking me, Tiffany, how can we solve this? What action moves can we do? What do you think we could do? I don't know. To be honest, I don't know. But I know when I have problems and I want them solved, I just stop having sex and everything's solved. So if everybody just stop having sex, especially if you're in an interracial relationship and your man is white, stop having sex with your white man. Things will change.
I love that. Elle, obviously, acting is something you have been doing for decades, but producing was the new piece. And I think what I've heard you say is you, like Catherine the Great, sort of found your voice in this process. What was that process like? What did you find were the things that you wanted to speak up about? And how did you get comfortable doing so?
I think there was a part of me that I've always been so interested in everybody's job and so curious, and just I want to tell my own stories. And if you don't say your point of view, like, no one's gonna know. You have to use your voice, you have to say, and like you have to. So I learned that was just like this character was huge for me, and this show is so dear, but it also, just as a human being, like made me raise my voice more and makes me wanna be behind the scenes more. Now I'm like authoritative.
Elle, I'm curious on the Great. There's obviously sex on screen. There's a lot of it, but in your case, it's the nudity is much more the men than the women. I'm curious, how does that change a dynamic on set?
I mean, there's a lot of things to talk about here because, of course, it's a period show, so we're corseted up with multiple layers of skirts, and so just the logistics of actually getting naked for the women, it takes a long time. So it's like everyone's kind of just having fully clothed sex, like, all right, girls, like, we're gonna just lift up your skirt, and like that's fine. There was an intimacy coordinator on set, a woman that was there to make sure everyone felt comfortable and also made sure that the sex looked real. So there would be times where Nick, or whoever, the guys would be in the wrong position. It's like, it doesn't look like you're doing it, or just like simple things of like, maybe you should, wipe your hand off, or like these little details that you don't think about. But like, she was there and helped us along with that and made everyone feel safe and made sure all the monitors were off when there were nude scenes for everybody, closed set, and obviously making sure no one did anything that they didn't feel comfortable with. And it was hard to keep a straight face during those scenes with Nicholas Hoult. He is so hilarious, and I would be like biting down on a pillow when he's like having to thrust and say these lines, or just like I can't take it seriously. But I'm happy that I had someone that I felt comfortable with, and we could actually be like embarrassed in front of each other. Like, that was something that was new for me with comedy. I think it's so important to embarrass yourself, go for it, it's fine. And he was a partner that I was like, let's just try to embarrass each other and challenge each other, and that made everyone feel much more, safe and supported during all those scenes.
I could never do that. I could never do anything like that, like sex scenes or get naked or pose in your underwear. I just could never, it just doesn't interest me.
Amy, one of the things that you hadn't done until this show was play yourself, and it was something so you hadn't been interested in doing. Why not, and how did you ultimately get comfortable?
Because I realized that I was the odd man out. Like, even though I was doing all the characters around me, or people would come on, I was like, oh, I'm the queer one. I'm the one nobody really likes that much. I'm the straight person. So somehow that gave me a hook to play. But I just have more fun playing characters and being other people and looking completely different. It seems like you're playing like you did when you were 5 or 6 years old, and that's just what I enjoy doing. And I just can't imagine ever getting tired of it.
One of the things you've said about these sort of characters that you play is ugly is so much more fun to play.
Even I did a small part on The Mandalorian, and I was like, okay, just give me a mullet and take my eyebrows away. But the guys who were doing it were like, most girls come on the show and they want to be pretty. They want to look exotic or pretty, and I'm just like, I'm not like that. But everyone had so much fun because they got to make me look ugly.